We're back.
What's
It
happening?
is episode 80 of the Metal Roundtable. I am Metal Rob, and with me, as always, is the great
Carcass John.
and still the new guy to the show, but not to be underestimated, is the great Scott Sparkling Waters.
Sparkling.
Sparkling.
That's right.
I call him Whiplash, but you call him whatever you want.
I
Razor.
call him Sparkling Waters.
Okay.
I just made that up right now.
Okay. So for the second time in the Metal Roundtable,
Orangutan, yeah. That's
that's
a total softball.
Yeah, it's a total softball, but guess what? You're going to learn something. You're going to play a little hardball when you learn about orangutan today, because that's what we're going to talk about. Bands like this.
Cool. Well, before we get rolling, let me turn my volume down here. Before we get rolling, I want to remind everybody that we are live every Tuesday with the great Monkey Butt here at KVGI Media. You can go to the metalroundtable.com, but also you can go to Hello Potato Fry Isaiah. Hello, as always. You can also go and check out the metalrobshow.com on Deep Dallas Radio every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. I would love for you to check that out. And I was just going to plug Carcass's label here today too, because Carcass has a nice little underground label that has the new Iron Jaw record. You had the BCAD War Beast joint
correct.
Out a couple years ago. And so, yeah. And so my shout outs to your label. What do you think about that?
That's pretty awesome. I appreciate that. I have a shout out too. We actually had a winner to my mock contest last week of who guessed that my shirt said cerebral rot. So we had two winners, and so just be on the lookout in your mail. Fraser Danger Dawson and Isaiah Montoya, you both have a little treat coming in the mail, including a few stickers, and appreciate them paying attention enough to want to win some free stuff. So awesome!
And also, without further ado, I want to remind everybody. There's a lot of cool things about having Scott on the show, but one of the cool things about having Scott on the show is the fact that since he has been on the show, our subscribership is going up. Because if you don't know about Scott Waters, I'll let him tell you more about this, but he has a very successful YouTube channel, just as your name, right? Scott Waters.
Yeah, I call it the No Life to Metal channel, but yeah, it's just Scott Waters under YouTube.
Yeah, and so I'm noticing for sure as you've been on the show, which we very much appreciate, and I'll get the open fixed one of these days, I promise.
And I'll get the logo fixed one of these days, I promise.
Yeah, we'll patch you in and give you your cut and all that. But yeah, the viewership has gone up, so I want to remind everybody to hit the YouTube channel, not only subscribe, but hit the little bell button so that I sound like my dad. Hit that little bell button so that you can be notified when we are on and when we post new videos. So there you go. Scott, what have you got to plug, brother?
Got some new stuff coming out on No Life to Metal Records. Can't make any official announcements yet until we get contracts signed, but looks like we've got a few things coming, which I'm kind of excited about. Some more thrash metal. A few things. So very cool. And yeah, check out my YouTube channel, Scott Waters, No Life to Metal. That's where I plug all things No Life to Metal, my collection. Kind of the same thing we do here. A little different because I'm by myself, but yeah, that's about it.
Well, it's good channel and it's well done, and all your videos are fantastic. Music reviews and stuff you got in the mail and all that. Yeah, I love it. It's a great channel. I knew about you and doing the channel a long time before we started working together doing label stuff. So, and then from back in the day too. But anyway, let's get to the topic of
Proto Metal.
Episode 80. I'm sorry, I've lost my place on my computer here. We're going to talk about Proto Metal. We've kind of done this before, but we're going to talk about the history of metal before metal was metal. Yep. And so that means that Carcass is going to read us a list, which I know we're all excited about.
I'm not going to read you a list. However, I do have a a stack of things to discuss. If anybody's interested, of course.
Oh, for sure. And Scott's channel is, hey, Jana. Scott's channel is worth binging. Isaiah's been, hello, potato fry. Yeah. We're going to talk about the things that were precursors to metal. Even though we've done kind of a history of metal show before, this is a little more of a continuation of that. And I'm going to be along for the ride here. I'm here to get schooled by those two guys up there because they're going to bring the big guns out and talk about stuff that led up to the birth of heavy metal. And I'm going to scroll along as we go.
And you're going to write down all this stuff that you need to get because you don't have it in your collection.
Good point. I'll get out my notepad here.
Right. So these are bands that I wouldn't necessarily call these bands heavy metal, but these were the bands I call it when heavy started, or, these bands that kind of influenced and were the big influencers on the 70s heavy metal bands. And Carcass John and I had a discussion, about a month ago?
Yeah.
We went through maybe 2 months ago, we went through about 6,000 records from the 70s, discussing what heavy metal was in the 70s. Well, this is kind of pre that. So more 60s and early 70s stuff.
Yeah. And believe it or not, I mean, I think we can all agree that maybe we can't all agree because we're three different people, but we can probably say that the three heavy hitters of that early era, obviously Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, and Led Zeppelin. Yeah. Okay. But even before them, there were other bands doing heavy stuff. And I mean, if you want me to start, I can tell you where I think it all started.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Little did we know, because we didn't have the internet. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we didn't have the internet back in the late 60s. But there was a huge music awakening going on in Japan. And it was heavy, and it was distorted. And I think that the big four of Japan at the time of the music of heavy, and then we're talking about the mid to late 60s, 65, 66. Hey, what's up, JT? But I'm talking about Blues Creation. I'm talking about Fried Egg. I'm talking about the Flower Traveling Band, and I'm talking about Food Brain. And I know these are all not very common names.
I've only heard of Blues Creation.
But if you listen to any of these records, I'm telling you, you're going to hear ferocious guitar playing, heavy beats, and extremely distorted guitar. And I got my first taste of this. I can remember as a young kid, I went and saw Godzilla versus the Smog Monster in the theater, and I got to see the grandeur of that psychedelic dance club thing where they had a band playing and a Go-Go Girls, and they were singing Save the Earth, but it was heavy and fast. And I always thought, man, that would be really cool to have that song. Well, I finally got it on a Japanese import Godzilla soundtrack, but whatever. So Scott, I think it started in Japan. What do you say?
I'd say Japan is one area. I think it was a worldwide phenomenon because I pulled 20 albums here, and they're from all over the freaking place. I mean, a lot concentrated in the UK and a lot concentrated in the United States as well. But I wanted to show this cool little box set that I have here.
Box set that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's a fake amp. Obviously, it opens up and it's got CDs and a book inside of it, and it's pretty cool. But here's the insert with the CDs inside of it. You see all the little knobs. But the first bands on this heavy metal soundtrack are Iron Butterfly, Blue Cheer, Uriah Heep, Alice Cooper, Hawkwind, and Deep Purple. All of which would be bands that I would call proto metal. So even an album like this, which is far from the heavy metal that they would be known for on this,
right?
But this was still in 66, 67, was still pushing what then was the extreme or the heavy or something.
Well, and you got to remember that in the 60s, I mean, we were talking about guys in suits and ties and guys playing sweet love songs and lovely little melodies and twanging away on a guitar, and they were playing acoustics usually, and that no one had ever heard things like what Purple was playing or Blue Cheer or
I wanna hold your hand.
Yeah, or even in fact, I harken back to and what I love about music is that it has a beginning and hopefully it never has an end. But when I first heard this, some of the early UFO stuff, man, there's some heavy riffing in there, and that's part of the UK thing. The first one's even heavier and more psychedelic. And I know some people out there like Poser Mark in Houston hates the psychedelic era of UFO, but you know what? I love it because that's from where they came. In fact, even the first Scorpions, we could almost conclude was like a heavy jazz fusion record, with a German accent singing vocals.
Yeah.
Lonesome Crow is one of my favorite of all times. But to your point, Scott, yeah, it was happening all over. In fact, well, you go ahead, but I was looking at a band called Cargo from Sweden. If you don't have this, you should really check it out. This thing is amazing. And then, has anybody ever heard of Buffalo from Australia? It's another killer one. And my buddy over at Born Late, Mr. Henry Vasquez, turned me on to Frumpy.
Oh yeah,
fronted by the enigmatic Inga Frump, and it's got heavy. It's got not only keyboards but heavy guitars, heavy drums, and we could just go from there. And now Scott's disappeared, which means he's going to come back with a pile
with a blockbuster.
With a blockbuster, he's going to Hey, there you go. I love it. See, great minds think alike.
See, and this is why the show is so cool, in my opinion. I mean, I'm tooting my own horn here a little bit. I have not heard of any of this.
All right, well, here's a few you've heard of that to me are the proto bands that really inspired. Throughout the world, these bands. I mean, this band here, pretty much.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
So this is what 1967, 68, somewhere in that area. As was this monster of a record. Pun intended. And I mean, look at this artwork on the back.
It's brutal. Yeah.
Did you draw that, John?
No, but I wish I had. That's a killer drawing.
Isn't it? And then this is one that some people will recognize, but
man, that early Ted Nugent stuff
too. Yeah, he's Dukes.
Absolutely.
66, 67, somewhere in that area. But the version of the blues standard on here, Baby Please Don't Go, which he was reborn again on Double Live Gonzo. But I mean, that is some heavy guitar playing for that time period. I mean, but this is that, US garage rock sort of stuff that was, popular around that area, as was
10 years after. Oh, Blue.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, to me, Blue Cheer was never. There you go. Was never so much heavy as it was loud.
Yeah, right? And distorted.
Yeah, loud and distorted. It was all about that sound,
Which ticked everybody off because music was supposed to be sweet and endearing and ethereal and not Blue Cheer.
Man,
sorry.
I meant to grab MC5 too, but I forgot. So.
See, and now that's one that's on my list is MC5. You've talked about Blue Cheer, Deep Purple, and Steppenwolf, but yeah, MC5, dude, kick out the jams. Are you kidding me?
How about the early Stooges? See, speaking of MC5,
absolutely, the early Stooges. Yep. I mean, it was more pushing towards punk, but it was heavy and it was different. You know what I mean? It didn't sound like the Stones and the Beatles and Elvis Presley and all the popular stuff at the time.
It was loud, fast, and snotty,
exactly.
as Johnny Rodden said.
What's up, AZ Mick? Arizona Mick, I guess that is. Harmless Rebel.
Hey,
Gun and Pink Fairies.
Yeah. Okay,
nice.
Now Harmless Rebel brings up a good point here because that Gun record is fantastic. I found that Gun record, John, in that Half Price Books here in town that you and I go to sometimes.
Yep.
$8 just sitting there.
Get out of town.
I'm telling you, an original press. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, dude, this is something. Bought it. sight unseen, had not heard a note of it. Got it home. Race with
Just
the
the
Devil.
cover. The cover is what invites you
Yeah.
into that thing.
Yeah. But what's the name of the song on that? Is it Race with the Devil or something? I may be confusing things, but anyway, fantastic record. I'm glad he brought that up because I left it off my
list.
Done. Race with the Devil.
Did you just say list?
No.
Oh.
I
got one some people might
68.
I guess I got one that some people might
Mothers of Invention.
Yeah, Mothers of I got one that some people might argue with, but how about Pink Floyd?
I just read that on a list. I was just reading
Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
That's a pretty weird, distorted, crusty. Yeah, I can see that.
And I am not saying it's heavy metal. I'm not saying that. I am saying it was heavy and different for its time period. It was
and that's a great point, Scott, because right here on Wikipedia, on early metal influences or whatever article I'm reading here, it says Pink Floyd released 2 of their heaviest and loudest songs to date, Ibiza Bar and the Nile Song, which was regarded as one of the heaviest songs the band recorded. So perfect. And King Crimson is the very next thing they mention.
Yep. So yeah, and this is the cover that most people would recognize.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know people who argue to death that that's not heavy, but if you put it up next to Slayer, nope, it's not heavy. but
Voivod covered the Nile Song, so there you have it.
That's exactly what you guys are both. That's exactly what you guys are both saying. Is to today's standards, no, it's not super heavy metal, but man, the thing that slammed into you is you're easing through a green light and the cement truck runs the red light of all the music that was going on back then. Freaking Hendrix. Holy cow, man. Larry Walsh from Pink Fairies died last year. He played guitar on the first Motorhead. Ha! You guys are coming up with all sorts of info.
Yep.
Larry Wallace. I just read about Larry Wallace being in Motorhead. So much info. Go ahead.
Are you experienced? Well, yeah. I mean, I think this, what was it, 67? 67.
Was there a guitar album that was quite like this in that?
No. I would say this is akin to Van Halen 1. Yes. I think when people plugged this thing in and heard it, they went, OMG, what am I listening to? What is the earth coming to an end? And it was the same thing when I plugged in Van Halen 1. I just went, oh, wow, what is this? I had probably a similar feeling.
They had guys like Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton with their jaws on the ground watching Jimi Hendrix or listening to Jimi Hendrix perform.
Right.
But here's another one that I would put in the proto-metal or the pre-metal era.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially that record.
You guys are absolutely nailing the article on Wikipedia called, it's just called Heavy Metal Music, but it starts out with a big history, and you guys are practically just going right down the list. That's genius.
You got, compare a song like, I don't know, I Want to Hold Your Hand, which was a huge Beatles cut, to a song like White Room, and there's the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a huge difference.
Headbanging Zulu UK. What's up, man?
Cream. Where is that other record?
Oh, hey, the mighty Attila, and guess who was in Attila?
Your mom?
Come on, Billy Joel.
Yep.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, he was in a heavy metal band.
Yeah, he was. So speaking of Cream, but this moves right on beyond that.
Yep, Blind Faith.
All right, yeah, Ginger Baker. Hey, how about right here in our own backyard here in Fort Worth?
Yeah.
Well, he's getting to it. Yep,
he's got it, and I've got a stack of things. I just thought it'd be easier to use CDs this time. But Blood Rock, man, and both those first 3 Blood Rocks are just heavy heavy hitters.
Yep.
They got a little weird. Oh, and speaking of Texas, how about the moving sidewalks?
Is there a song more eerie than DOA?
No, or Melvin laid an egg.
So I got onto a thread the other day where and it may have been Spicoli on KNON talking about somebody posted something that came up in my Facebook news feed about Blood Rock's DOA and what a creepy, scary song that was. I had never heard it. I had no idea what they were talking about. So I jump in the rabbit hole like I always do. I look over on my shelf because I had recently acquired a Blood Rock CD or two. Guess what was on it? DOA. And they're right. Yep. I can't imagine if I'd have been a little kid hearing that, what I would have thought.
Manila Road did a great cover of that song back in the 80s.
Really? Yeah, Blood Rock, great one from right here in our backyard.
Hey, before I put this one away, that's a good one. I should have pulled that one, damn it. Before I put this one away, I just wanted to show something. You ever get with the records and you find something cool that doesn't belong in there?
Yes.
This is someone's hand-drawn hand art insert with.
Oh, wow.
It's like actual paint. I just thought it was so cool I had to put it on the back cover.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, somebody just mentioned the Kinks.
That's the great Trey.
Oh, absolutely.
Dude, you really got me? Come on. That is heavy metal as it gets right there.
Hey, that's the owner of FX Games and Console Repair in Plano, Texas, kids.
Right on. Okay, well, I'll throw this one up there. This is and see, look, a stack of Marshalls. Now this is not just your average "I Want to Hold Your Hand" type Beatles record, right? This is by the enigmatic Iowa band called Truth and Janie. I was so fortunate to see them at Psycho Vegas back a couple years ago, and dude, they were heavy as can be. And if you haven't heard this record, this is a must. And I know that Mr. Scott next door to me over here is going to tell you the same thing.
Yep, I didn't pull that one, but that's a good choice.
Yeah, they have a live one, and then they have an EP, and then they have this full length. And man, they're all just
have the live one on vinyl. Have that one on CD. I want it on vinyl, but Baron von Headbanger said, "Did anybody bring up Iron Butterfly?"
Somebody. Oh no, maybe not. But that's
I mentioned them in the very beginning when I read off the list from that box set, but
right.
In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, to me, that song and that simple riff is just about as essential as Smoke on the Water.
I think you're probably right. It's recognizable, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's just simple, easy, and to Potato Fry's point about the Who, they're cutting the speakers to get that distorted sound. That is all the beginnings of what was coming to heavy metal. And yeah, Scott mentioned the Beatles. What about Helter Skelter? That's a great point because as I was reading a list earlier this week about there was something floating around on Loudwire or Blabbermouth or something about the top 10 pre-heavy metal songs, and Helter Skelter was right on there. And Motley Crue thought enough of it to cover it. They thought it was heavy enough. And yeah, you go back and listen to Helter Skelter compared to the same guys that did I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Right. Well, that was a scary song about a scary subject.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's,
or even not so scary, just heavy and fast. How about Back in the USSR? I mean, that's a pretty metal song.
Yeah.
Also mentioned that Slayer recorded In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida.
Yes.
Oh, they sure did. Yep. In the Garden of Eden or whatever they call it. How about this? Anybody ever heard of Captain Beyond?
Of course.
Now, tell me what I would know about Captain Beyond, because I've heard the name a million times, but why would I know that?
They're kind of an all-star band, aren't they, Scott?
Yes,
aren't
they are.
Guys from Cactus, guys from Bobby Caldwell, Rod Evans.
Okay. From Deep Purple, yeah. Basically, after he flew the coop from Purple, whether I don't know whether he was kicked out or left, but that was the band they formed.
Yeah. Pretty killer stuff.
But yeah, speaking of that.
Yep. Yeah. I just checked out some Cactus last week. Because every time I go into Born Late, Henry likes to play this game with me. hey man, do you even know who this is? You're not Metal Rob. And then he'll be playing Cactus or, something like that I don't know. And so I hit him up and was like, educate me. And man, did I get a schooling for about 30 minutes. He's like, you need to check out Cactus. You need to check out Atomic Rooster. You need to check out Blood Rock. And I mean,
you need to check out Dust.
Yep, Dust. Yep. Yeah, I still, yes.
Cactus,
He overloaded me.
Has nothing to do with the topic, but I've had this record since I was a kid, and I always just thought that was a cool cactus on the cover. Never realized it was supposed to be something a little more phallic than that.
Oh, I thought it was someone flipping the bird. Honestly,
well, not if you look at it like this.
yeah. I don't ever. Thanks, Scott, for ruining my image of that record. I love that record, but
What have we got here?
Atomic Rooster.
Yeah,
and that one in particular is freaking awesome.
Well, I think this one is equally as good. I like them both.
Yeah, I like that one too. Basically, those first 4 or 5, they got a little. They wavered a little because then they have some personnel issues and discrepancies.
Yes, I just started checking those dudes out recently. I started down the Atomic Rooster,
but you can't get into Atomic Rooster without getting into
Arthur Brown.
The Crazy World of Arthur Brown.
Yeah, that dude was nuts.
No kidding. I've got that CD sitting right up here in a stack of stuff to go through, and I had no idea what it was.
That back cover is awesome.
Yeah.
Fire. We want you to burn.
Yep. It was heavy. It was theatrics. It was
YouTube it and check. Yeah, YouTube it and check out the video for it. It's akin to the Black Sabbath Paranoid video. It's like all this double camera imagery and psychedelic flashing and fire burning. It's really pretty wild. So, okay, my stack dissipated in a hurry, but
I still got more.
Have you ever heard of Orange Peel?
That one is a new one to me.
Okay, German band. All I can say is check it out. They have a 7-inch single, and they have this. That's it. That's all they got. They're kind of like a new wave of British heavy metal band, except they're the wave of heavy music before metal was metal. But this thing is crushing. It's got some extended long songs, but like I said, they have a 7-inch, and as Henry would say, this is a Dave Greider special. Finding the original vinyl of this you'll be hard pressed. They do have a reissue that's really good. It's a 180 gram pressing, but the original goes for big like house payment type money. But it's worth every penny if you can find the CD. Orange Peel from Germany.
What's the name of the album?
Orange Peel.
Oh, okay.
So one of the traits of heavy metal is what? One of the traits is the dual guitar lead from bands like Thin Lizzy and Aerosmith, right down to Judas Priest, and then on to Iron Maiden and every other freaking band that played heavy metal afterwards. And you can credit these guys with a big portion for that.
Oh yeah, Wishbone. I had them pulled out, but I just didn't.
And especially with one of their best albums ever.
Yep. Hey, and JT Terry Sullivan. That first Three Dog Night is that the one with Eli's Coming and Liar and some of those? Those are some heavy tunes. I won't say they're metal, but they're heavy.
That's cool. His buddy met Arthur Brown.
Oh wow,
Glastonbury. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure my buddy Drog. If you see my channel, I do these videos usually a few times a year, which has not happened thanks to COVID. But me and Trog do these countdown videos on my channel, and he's a huge Arthur Brown fan. He's met him as well. Is he? I don't remember. Is he still alive though? I think he's passed, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he has passed. He would have been in his late 80s by now, because he was fairly. He was in his late 30s, early 40s back in the 60s. So, anyway,
got another one for you. Ready?
Fire away.
It might be controversial too, but I don't know why.
Hawkwind. See, to me, that's more on the acid rock side of things, but yeah, I get it. Totally get it. And it begat
Especially
Motorhead.
once Lemmy came in and started writing songs.
Yeah, I like the early Hawkwind. Everything else after Lemmy left, I think they lost their way.
This
That's
is
my
actually,
opinion.
This here is pre-Lemmy.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time with Hawkwind. I have a couple of their records, and they're usually the ones that are obscure and just mostly instrumental. Wishbone Ash from England, you've got to recognize it. Yes, Fraser, we recognized it.
Fraser.
In fact, I'll be honest with you, I have a Wishbone Ash patch on my battle jacket, on one of them anyway. So I recognize that they're a huge proto-metal influence.
Yeah. You better recognize that shit, John. Black Oak, Arkansas. There you go.
I just had this
one that I kept seeing.
Black Oak, Arkansas came a little late. They were more. They came what in the. They weren't 60s. They were more.
No, they were mid-late 70s.
Yep. So, but if you want to talk 60s, how about this one?
Can't argue with Grand Funk Railroad, brother. If there was a big four, they would be the fourth one from the Zeppelin, Deep Purple, and Black Sabbath, in my opinion. But
practically forgotten about these days. But back in the early 70s, these guys were selling out stadiums like 2, 3, 4 nights in a row.
Yeah.
I think weren't they like one of the first ones to break attendance records at Madison Square Garden or something like that?
And at Shea Stadium.
There you go, Shea Stadium. Exactly. So I mean, this was. I think this is fantastic stuff. I still listen to Grand Funk quite a bit today. I mean, they went poppy. Sure, a lot of bands.
Well, but the thing is they could pull off their studio records were basically live, like a live studio recording. So whatever they sounded like on the record was going to sound the way they sounded live, except louder.
Exactly. So I have 2 more. I might as well just show them.
Might as well, because I'm out.
Okay.
I can't argue with Alice Cooper.
Nope.
I mean, they got better over time. This is pretty. I like this stuff, but I think I like it because I heard it a bazillion times back in the day when you only had 30 albums, so you played them all the time. That's one of the reasons for me. I mean, their songwriting got better. They got, then they became a hit-making machine in the early 70s, but this early kind of psych stuff was still pretty heavy because this was what it might have been 70, 60, 68, 69, 70, somewhere in that area. I should look these things up before we do the.
Yeah. Well,
I'm doing our research as we go. You guys keep going.
What year did this one come out? Rob, can you look that up real quick?
I'm looking it up right now.
I'm thinking it was 68 or 69, but I could be wrong.
I think you're.
And then I got one more here.
June 25th of 1969.
There you go. So I was right. It was 69.
Somebody mentioned Lord Baltimore. Got to throw those guys in the mix. Bang would be another one in that same vein.
Yeah, no, I think we're into the 70s with those, but yes, agree.
But this one was actually recorded in 69, released in the early 70s. This is the US cover and US pressing, but
oh man, yeah.
That's a wicked album cover too.
Is that what is that? Ashbury Street or Ashbury what's the name of that?
So, I believe this one was 70. It was either 69 or 70, but as I recall, it was like recorded in 69, released in 70. But I mean, I've actually heard people call Uriah Heep a Deep Purple clones, but how could you be a clone of something you were doing at the same time?
Yeah. There was I remember growing up that we had kind of a split in our little crew of record listening dudes, and half of us were Deep Purple all the way, and half of them were Uriah Heep. I was on the Deep Purple side, but I did appreciate Uriah Heep. They were awesome, and I'd seen them live even back in the 70s. So
one thing about I did that. I don't know if you saw on my channel, but I did a video called "Albums That Define Heavy Metal for the 70s." And what I did was I polled 40 different people, including you guys, but a lot of metal musicians. And Manny Castillo from the heavy metal band Paradox, this was his pick for the album that represents heavy metal in the 70s.
Well, look at the cover. I mean, let's
do metal. This will be fun. Let's go around the horn. What is your record, Scott, that defines heavy metal in the I'm talking initial heavy metal. What's the one that defines it for you?
In the 70s?
Yeah. Well, just what is your early metal, the one that defines metal?
The one that defines actual heavy metal for me would probably be like the second Judas Priest album, maybe tied with Black Sabbath's first album.
Yeah, see, to me, it's Sabbath's first album. That is the absolute boom stamp down on this is heavy metal. There were a lot of things that contributed to it. There were a lot of things that came from it, and led up to it. But that was the hammer striking down, saying this is heavy metal. That's what became the template, in my opinion. What do you think, Carcass?
I'm waiting for Carcass. He's laughing, so I'm waiting for it.
No, I mean, I could say Chuck Berry, but and I would be serious, but I don't know. I still err on the side of Deep Purple. I mean, In Rock and Fireball and
a bunch of people in my thing picked In Rock and Machine Head were two that were both picked consistently.
But I have to, I can't disagree with Black Sabbath, because I think that they were the grandfathers of a heavier way of doing metal. I mean, if you look at metal, there's so many genres, and you look at, Maiden and Priest and the high soaring vocals and the twin guitar attack, and then you look at, I don't know, Napalm Death or Malevolent Creation or Devastation from Texas. They're just completely different directions. They all have metallic elements to them, but they're just completely different directions. So I guess it just depends if you want to define the direction that you're talking about, what took heavy metal in a certain direction.
Right. I mean, even the three big bands from the UK that were Sabbath, Zeppelin, and Purple didn't sound alike at all. Sabbath's heaviness came definitely from Tony Iommi's guitar riffs and stuff, whereas Zeppelin's heaviness didn't really come from that guitar sound. It was more their bottom end. It was John Bonham and
John Paul Jones.
That was where their heaviness came from. But then Deep Purple was a mixture. You had the crazy riffs of Ritchie Blackmore mixed with that. And it wasn't keyboards at the time. It was organ sounds. It was that heavy organ sound that they had at the time.
Yeah.
From John Lord, right? And
the mayhemic drumming of Ian Pace. And I think that was a kind of a precursor to the metal thing, because he was doing things. He was doing speed kicking and all sorts of, and then someone says Motorhead. And of course, that was going to be my next statement. It blended into that. But to your point, Scott, they were all different. And then how could we miss Leslie West of Mountain with the heaviest guitar tone probably of his era, and he's rest his soul. He just passed away, but anyway.
Did you see Baron Von Headbangers?
No, what did he say?
I was 6 when my brother played Black Sabbath for me, scared the shit out of me, and hooked me on hard rock heavy metal. That to me, the two albums that did that for me was and I got to talk about that too. Was Back in Black and Destroyer. But he says, can you go back one comment, Monkey Butt? Yeah, what about early Twisted Sister, the club days? Now, that doesn't go back to the 60s, but absolutely they were dominating the 70s, club scene with heavy stuff, man. Hey, they may have been wearing heels, but they would kick your ass.
Yeah.
Not going to disagree. He's still doing that now.
Yep.
Even at his advanced age, should we say? And
we should all be in his shape at his age.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, and I just an FYI, they're working on new material. They got a new record just about in the can, ready to roll. And
you have a new nickname now.
Political Caucus John.
Caucus John. I love that. Oh,
yeah, that's what my buddies from New Jersey call me.
Caucus John.
Hey, Caucus.
Well, I think we're getting to the end of our list, but I wanted to bring up something while we've got everybody here. And I know it's live, but I think this would be a fun idea to talk about out loud. And maybe some of the guys that are watching and listening could tell us what they think. I want to do either of you guys have the heavy metal trivia game Metal Mental Meltdown? No. Okay. Well,
I think I played it at your house with Mark Fields that one time, and yeah.
Yes, you did. So here's what I want to do. I want to have a Clash of the Titans episode. We could spread it over a couple of episodes if you wanted. But I want to be the moderator with the game. I'll have the game and keep score. And I want you guys to challenge each other in Metal Mental Meltdown live on the air for a, preconceived amount of time, 30 minutes or whatever. And I want you guys to square off, and I'll pick the questions and keep score. Are you guys willing to have a Clash of the Titans on Metal Mental Meltdown?
Hey, I'll try anything.
I'll give it a
Come
try.
on.
What's the worst that can happen?
Don't be a wiener.
Hey, you know what? You know what we ought to do, though, is we ought to have Scott and I challenge the world in heavy metal trivia.
Yeah, I was thinking about how we would do that.
I don't know how we would
live.
do that. If we could have someone phone in, we could gang up on him. But anyway.
But yeah, I want you guys to square off in some Metal Mental Meltdown, because when I play that game, it gets down to demo covers and all this stuff, and you guys know so much about that kind of thing. I think it would be fun to play a 30-minute roundtable Metal Mental Meltdown episode.
Let's give it a try. What the heck? I'm in it. Yeah. I mean, what can I say? I tell you what, though, as long as you find a copy of Food Brain and listen to it.
Food Brain. Well, I've got Orange Peel pulled up on YouTube for as soon as we get off the show. Food Brain.
Fried egg.
Oh, that's right. The Big Four of Japanese early metal.
That's right.
Cool.
All right.
I got nothing. Y'all got any parting shots?
Hey, I just want to say thanks to Harvest the Artist. I'm from my artistic friend from Ohio, that he sent me a couple of killer. You can see here in the background, a nice actual drawing and a killer print, and appreciate his enthusiasm towards metal. You should see some of that. You should check him out on Instagram. He's got some killer hand painted jackets and whatever. This guy's no joke, and he's taking a kind of a Warholian approach to screen printing and doing layers. It's really pretty cool. And oh, by the way, Consecrator, and I opted for the CD, Scott, because it has a DVD of a live recording in it.
It sure does.
And I thought that'd be kind of cool. And
I think the vinyl has one track that's not on the CD, and the CD has one track not on the vinyl, or something.
Yeah, something like that. But I opted for the DVD because I wanted to try it out on the system out in the pool hall out there. But anyway, yeah. Other than that, I got nothing except I better start boning up on my metal trivia.
That's right.
Don't ask me about any
who studies for tests.
Danger
No.
covers.
I'll keep it in your genre. Yeah.
I did get a new record in the mail I'm excited about. You all want to see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
been I don't want to say it's a grail, but it is one that's hard to get, but it was just re-released on vinyl. So this is the reissue, not the original.
Oh, wow. That's
the
very first one.
Oh, wow. I've never seen that.
I've got everything April Wine, and I've had everything April Wine for forever, and compilations and every other vinyl that's ever been released, but I just never owned this one. It's so freaking hard to find. But
all right, well, if we're showing stuff, hang on.
Hey, just let me know if you see K, Scott.
I see K.
Okay.
Hey, what year that was? April.
Hang on. This
while we're on here.
I'm missing a couple, I think. But look what I did after we got off the air a couple of weeks ago.
Is that your stack of razors?
All your razors? Nice.
Oh my gosh, those are so awesome.
So actually, oddly enough, that April Wine kind of fits into this episode. That album came out in 1970. Is that what I?
Harmless Rebel said something about Black Widow, and I had them on my list, except I didn't read a list. And that's why I read lists, because I write all that stuff down. So
well, that's why I kick you in the pants. I just like to do
Steve,
it.
Harmless Rebel, was this 1970? I think it might have been.
It was 69 in Canada and 70 in the States.
April Wine. What's it called?
There you go.
April Wine.
So actually, this one fits perfectly into this episode.
Yep.
I mean, it's definitely not heavy metal by any stretch of the imagination, but it's
71
a rocking album from that early time
but
period.
man, there was just so many bands happening then, like Leaf Hound and Dark, and as I mentioned, the Moving Sidewalks, which is Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top when he was like 15 or 16 years old. It's just ridiculous. In fact, if you hear that record, you'll hear his voice, and you're thinking, "Man, I know that voice." But that's the beauty of music. Is now with the internet. See, back then we didn't have the luxury of being able to expand our horizons like this,
No.
and basically search the whole world. I mean, Buffalo. Who's going to go to Australia to hear that band, right? But it's right here in our backyard. I don't know. Potato Fry, New York Dolls. New York Dolls. Anybody?
Yeah,
Punk,
I mean,
to
they
me,
were kind of
punk and glam rock to me, kind of.
yeah, and they were what 70? They were mid 70s, right? Or not mid, but early 70s as well. But I mean, they were a huge influence on what bands like Kiss.
Yeah.
I mean, Kiss
Angel, Kiss.
Kiss basically took what New York Dolls did to the next level. That's what.
By the way, on this Dust record, there's a guy named Mark Bell playing drums. Well, do you know who Mark Bell is? Anybody? Anybody?
Nope.
How about
Yes,
Marky Ramone?
Cowboy Mark Bell.
How about Marky Ramone? This was his first project.
Oh,
Anyway,
I had no idea.
there you go. Now, see, do I get a ding ding for the metal trivia on that or anything? No,
Hang on,
anything?
wait.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
Oh, now we have special effects. Whoa.
oh, that's cool.
Whoa.
Special effects. Ah.
Oh, and by the way, Rob, look these guys up too.
Okay, tell me about that.
Orangutan, just another smoking heavy band with crunchy guitars and loud distortion.
And this one, look this
And
one up.
Frumpy, I'm telling you, man, Inga Frump has got a torchy voice, but she's got a little growl in there too. It's pretty cool. Coven, there's another one. I think what happened was Black Sabbath did it just a little more spooky and heavier than Coven, and that's what, because Coven was doing that weird mystical stuff before Black Sabbath was.
It's true.
They were still Earth. They were still playing old folks' homes in the pastures of England somewhere.
You know, I learned something new about Black Sabbath over the last few weeks. I always assumed and thought that all the Black Sabbath albums were tuned down to at least a half step to E flat, D major, whatever it is. That is not true. Because I read the stories about Tony Iommi's cutting his finger in the accident and having to wear the thing, and that's why they tuned down their guitar. That's why they got the heavier sound. That's all bunk. None of that's true. It is true that he cut his hand. It is true that he has the little thing on his finger. It is not true that they tuned down. Those first two albums are standard E tuning, and they still got that crazy sound that they got on those first two albums. They didn't actually start tuning down until Master of Reality.
Really?
Well, no wonder that's the heaviest record that they put out.
Yep. And then,
allegedly.
And then from that point on, it was up and down with different tunings depending on.
Yeah, I know Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath wasn't down tuned. That was a bright spanking guitar sound there.
Yep. Yeah, those first two E straight E tuning. I blew me away because I would have fought you to the death on that one.
I would have too.
So everybody in the metal world would have probably fought you to the death on that one.
I was online with some guy and we were talking about it. He's like, "You're an idiot, dude. You don't know what you're talking about." And I'm like, "Man, I read it right in Tony Iommi's book." And I went back to Tony Iommi's book and he did talk about it, but he didn't say they did it on the first album. He just said they started tuning down because while they were touring, it was killing his fingers to play in E. So they started tuning down to make the strings lighter. But it wasn't until a couple tours in and a year, Master Reality, which was 1971, that they actually tuned down to E flat, or what is it, D major, I guess it is, right?
Yeah, I'd have to get my mom involved, and she's not going to talk about Black Sabbath.
I can't tune a guitar, so what do I know?
Can you tune a fish?
Yes. Oh,
I can eat tuna fish. All right, now we're just getting stupid.
Now we are getting stupid.
It happens.
Oh, thanks, Frazier. There's a new Hellstar, like an EP coming out, and it's got I don't know if it's a remix of Vampiro or an extended mix with another song. Anyway, but
I think it's a reissue.
Just a reissue. It's kind of a cool package, though, double disc, and
oh yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of cool. Now I'll be honest with you, I like the red more than the purple, but the purple on that, I think they throttled it down a little bit. Looks good. Yay, Hellstar.
We love Hellstar.
Yeah, we do.
It's our buddies.
That's right. That's our second house. That's our backup house band if we don't have one. It's Forebode, Aska, and Hellstar.
James Rivera is one of my all-time favorite metal vocalists. Always has been. Always will be.
Boy, and he's really had to like real kind of like all those guys where they have to kind of relearn how to sing at an as the older they get, they have to change their tune. But that's why guys like George Call are so impressive. It's like he's in his 50s and holy smokes, he can still get up there, climb the ladder.
Or Michael Sweet.
Or Michael Sweet even. Good grief. And I guess all of them that are still good, still doing it, are able to somehow make an adjustment. Anyway, now we're babbling. This is what they do in TV when they want you to stretch it out, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, right. We're talking metal, man. We're
talking metal. I'm just kidding.
Yep, that's what we did. All right, well, that sound means we're out of time.
Oh, man.
Right, kids,
winner, chicken dinner.
Shots before we sign off. That was good. Man. That's 2 episodes in a row that I have gotten an absolute butt kicking and a total schooling in thrash bands that I need to check out. I've still got that on my desk, and now all this proto metal and whatnot that I've got to go. I'm going to go jam on some Orange Peel right now.
Faith Bomb, they're proto metal.
Stop saying that. All right. Until episode 81, check us out at No Life Till Metal records.com or No Life Till Metal.
NoLifeTillMetalRecords.com and NoLifeTillMetal.com. Either one will get you there.
Either one will get you there. And don't forget to check out Carcass on Instagram at CarcassJohnArt. I am on Instagram at IamMetalRob, but we would love it if you would go to themetalroundtable.com and take a nice link over to he's showing his Carcass John sticker. Somebody that loves you made those for you.
Yes. Yes, he do. Yes, he do.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
look at us.
No, wait.
Come on, throw up a sticker. Oh, and someone that loves you made that sticker.
Oh.
I like the DRI one too. That's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, I don't have one handy. I just did buttons on those. I didn't do stickers.
Yeah,
there you go. But head over to themetalroundtable.com. Get over to the YouTube channel. We are 4 subscribers away from 200, which is a paltry sum compared to the thousands of subscribers that Scott has. But get us over 200 this week. We would love you for it. We thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time for episode 81, you know how we sign off.
Metal will prevail.